Good evening. Welcome to the April 22nd Falmouth Conservation Commission hearing. At this point in time, I'd like to remind people if you have phone, electronic device, please silence it or shut it off. During the hearing, you're more than welcome to address the board. In doing so, we ask that you go up to the podium, identify who you are for the record, and then we can proceed with that, just addressing the chair as you go up to and get recognized. As we begin the hearing tonight, I'm going to defer to my vice chair for a brief opening statement.
Thank you. It's the 45th anniversary of Earth Day. It seems like an appropriate place to reflect on it. All the ideas expressed by me are half-baked or full-baked are mine. You're going to go back to 1969, just before this started, to get a sense of where it all came from. Vietnam was out of control. We just had Tet. It looked like we're about to be able to run over there. Things weren't going well at all. And for those of you from Chicago, I apologize, but the Cuyahoga River and the Rogue River burned. Regulations were such that you could just dump into them. There was a major oil spill in Santa Barbara. It kind of woke people up to that we're really abusing the coastline there. The U.S. landed men on the moon. And the notion of spaceship Earth was voiced at the UN. This notion of, and I think it was brought out by, we had the men on space, this whole system of systems that had to sustain us and those on the Earth, as Bob Dylan told us, the times they were a-changing. Two major players, John McConnell, proposed March 20th, 1970, as Earth Day. He wanted to, he was both a scientist and a political activist and a religious man, and he wanted to ring the bell of peace at the UN on the day of the equinox. Seemed like a way to do it. The second big player was the former governor and senator of Wisconsin, Gaylord Nelson. He wanted to be a grassroots, not a politically top-driven event. And by God, he did it. To give you a sense, our goal is not just an environment of clean air and water and scenic beauty. The objective is an environment of decency, quality, and mutual respect for all other human beings and all living things. A very broad look. He goes on to say, ecology is a big picture. It's concerned with the total ecosystem, not just how we dispose of our cans and bottles and sewage. If you go back in that period of time, we were digging cesspools on near Mara Vista. If we had listened, maybe we wouldn't be sitting here with estuaries. What happened? The National Environmental Policy Act was put in 1969, and the Federal Water Pollution Control Act was put in 1972. We have government following, but not leading. But there you go. Where are we today? We know for sure we need regulations to control man's activities. Man is an invasive species, as this side of the table would say. If you're an applicant, where are we today? If you're an applicant with a dock, at least, you come before this commission, and I suspect you find this to be a major pain in your stern. There's no missing that. But this town is a better place because of the hard work of this commission and the staff members. There's just no missing it. We wouldn't be as beautiful as we are without us. I want to thank all the engineers, attorneys, who come before us, who repeatedly find ways to address their clients' needs and respect our regulations. It's not an easy task, and I really appreciate all that good faith. But most of all, I want to thank the vast majority of residents who not only respect our regulations, but are good stewards of the environment. They do it so on their own will and make Falmouth really what it is. Thank you.
Very nice, Mike.
Thank you very much, Mike.
You're most welcome.
So after enjoying that, we're going to move right into minutes.
That's fine.
And first up is March 4th.
Mr. Chairman, those will be ready next week. Susan's still working on them.
So we're going to just do minutes
Yep.
next week. Okay. Next on the agenda, a request for continuance under a determination of applicability. And that's for 125 Falmouth Woods Road.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant is requesting a one-week continuance until April 29th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have Russell's motion, Mary's second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is, put that down here. Request for determination of applicability. This is the lesser of the two permits that we are going to be discussing this evening. This is where a negative determination is what you want to hear. We have a staff information here, and again, a negative determination is what you want to hear for the project to proceed as presented. First up is 163 Birch Lane, North Falmouth, Mass. for permission to remove the existing brick patio and replace with a bluestone patio, sitting wall, and fire pit within the existing footprint.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the staff is recommending a negative 2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
I got
Second.
three.
You got three. Aye.
Dealer's choice on that one, and Mary's second. Is there anyone that would like to discuss this project in the audience? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is Town of Falmouth Beach Committee, Woodneck Road, West Falmouth, Mass. for permission to install a shower tower at Woodneck Beach, which includes cutting road pavement 1 foot wide, digging no greater than 3 foot installation of water line and rinse station, patching the trench with 2 inches of asphalt, then repaving in the fall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the staff is recommending a negative 2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor's motion, Russell's second. Is there anyone that would like to discuss this project in the audience? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next, the 300 Committee, Catherine Lee Bates Road, for permission to remove invasive plant species throughout the property by hand with the option of follow-up control with an approved herbicide.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we are recommending a negative 2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Second.
Russell's motion, Mike's second. Are there any questions?
I do have a question. Is it the entire street? What are we talking about there? I'm just curious. There's no address.
Oh, no, it's that little parcel of land, it's that little parcel that was recently auctioned off across from the bank
Mm-hmm.
along the pond, so
Okay. Yep.
it's going to be over.
Thank you.
Ross, you good with that?
Yep. We're good with that.
Jim, carousel
you.
parcel?
That's good.
We can refer to that as the carousel parcel, right? Okay. So, we have a motion and a second.
Pony pocket.
Thank you. Is there any discussion from the audience? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is 144 Alder Lane, North Falmouth, Mass. for permission to perform landscape improvements by replacing landscape timbers and replacing with stone, including cobblestone edging, retaining wall construction, patio reconstruction, and walkways, all within the existing footprint.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we're recommending a negative 2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
Second.
Michael's motion, Mary's second. Any further discussion on the board? Any discussion on the audience on this project? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is 19 Woodneck Road, West Falmouth, Mass. For permission to install a 3-foot by 6-foot rinse station, 3-foot by 4-foot deck stairs, 10 by 14 shed, and native mitigation shrubs plantings as per Falmouth Wetland Resource Area Buffer regulations.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, -2 under the state and the bylaw with resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Second.
Michael's motion, Mary's second. Any further discussion? Is there any discussion in the audience? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is the one that got continued to
April 29th.
April 29th. Now is a continued request for determination of applicability. 7 Pine Bank Road, North Falmouth, Mass. For permission to remove a 4-foot by 6-foot concrete landing and replace with an 8-foot by 12-foot deck to install and maintain native mitigation plantings to remove and dispose of the existing septic system and replace with a new Title V sewage disposal system and the associated excavating, grading, and landscaping.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant's representative is requesting a continuance until May 20th, and he's still trying to resolve some issues out there.
So moved.
Second.
Mary's motion, Mike's second. Any further discussion on the board? Any discussion in the audience? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is request for a hearing under a notice of intent. All hearings of the Falmouth Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. First is Mass Audubon, 286 Assumet Road, East Falmouth, Mass. For permission to restore degraded dry wetland habitat by creating 3 small, shallow vernal pools of varying size totaling approximately 4,800 square feet within the existing wetland basin.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant is requesting a continuance until May 13th.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
that would
I
be,
won't be here. So,
Okay,
okay,
we're gonna have to go to May 13th. We'll work on that.
Mary's motion, Russell's second.
Did you say May 13th as opposed to the 2nd?
May 13th.
May
I
13th.
just want to make sure I get it right.
We don't meet on the 6th, so it's the 13th.
So the motion is for May 13th.
13th. We have the motion and the second. Any
Very
further,
worst case scenario, we'll bump it to the 20th. I'm trying to get them in before a workshop is scheduled in June.
okay.
Okay.
any further discussion on the board? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is 71 Nauset Avenue East, North Falmouth, Mass. For permission to demolish the existing dwelling and construct a new single-family with deck, covered porch to reconfigure the driveway, install a walkway, dry wells, utilities, native mitigation plantings, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping.
Sir?
Thank you. Twice.
Thank you muchly.
Good evening. For the record, Tim Santos from Holmes & McGrath representing the applicant. The property is located at 71 Nauset Ave East. The resource area is on or within 100 feet of the property are salt marsh, coastal bank, land subject to coastal storm flowage, and the riverfront area associated with Heron River. The property is currently developed with an existing single-family home. The applicant is proposing to demolish this home and construct a new home. In accordance with the redevelopment regulations, there's approximately 51 square feet increase of structure within FWR A associated with the salt marsh and coastal bank, and there's a decrease of 5 square feet in Zone B. So we will be proposing 160 square feet of mitigation plantings shown along the top of the bank, as well as one tree. All roof runoff will go to dry wells. There was an existing Title V compliant septic system that was put in, I believe, 2 years ago, or about a year and a half ago, came before this board under an RDA. So we'll be tying into that. There's no increase in flow on the property. If the board has any questions, I'd be more than happy to address them.
Thank you. Jen? Mike?
No questions.
Us?
Just for my own point of information, the reason why the house was set where it is, the proposed house, is that because of the clearance from the septic tank?
Yes,
Is that what it was?
correct.
So if that tank was a little closer to the street, that could have been moved.
It could have been moved slightly forward. Also, we were trying to maintain the 20-foot minimum setback to the leaching field so they could have a full basement there as well. It's no closer to the coastal bank than what previously existed, so.
No other questions? Thank you.
No questions.
Okay, if we have, at this point in time, I'd like to hear a motion.
Make a motion to close the hearing, take it under advisement?
Second?
Okay, we have Russell's motion, Mary's second. At this point, open up to the audience. Is there anyone that would like to address this project at this time? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Good night.
Happy Earth Day.
Okay, next on the agenda is 23 Foster Road, East Falmouth, Mass. for permission to demolish the existing dwelling and construct a new single-family with attached garage, farmer's porch, second floor balcony, elevated landings with stairs, install a driveway, dry wells, utilities, seasonal walkway, regrade and shape eroded face of coastal dune, install jute netting with beach grass plantings for 1,000 square feet, and the associated clearing, excavating, and grading. Thank you. Good evening.
I'll save any comments until after Mr. Borselli's presentation.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Mike Borselli from Falmouth Engineering, and I represent the applicant. We're here tonight asking permission to raise and reconstruct a single-family dwelling on the property referenced in the application at 23 Foster Road. The lot at Lot 2, also known as 23 Foster Road, is located on the waters of Vineyard Sound, which is to the south of the property as shown on this plan. As you work your way into the property, there's a coastal beach. Then there's a coastal dune that has experienced some erosion. And then beyond the coastal dune is the upland, which is a residential dwelling, landscaping, lawn, and typical features on a residentially developed lot. So we're within 100 feet of the coastal beach, the coastal dune, and we're in a velocity zone. The velocity zone is designated as VE elevation 14, and so elevation 14 represents the predicted wave height. The existing house was built decades ago. It's non-conforming to any of today's building code standards. It's non-conforming certainly to FEMA standards. It contains 5 bedrooms. The new owners did an analysis and determined that they could not renovate the house such that it would be able to be done and not have to be brought up to FEMA standards. There's a trigger for that, and the cost to do the renovation exceeded that trigger. So they made a decision that they'd like to demolish the house and build a FEMA-compliant house in its place. And submitted with the package, in addition to the site plans and the notice of intent, is architectural plans and some renderings, which I think really show what's proposed very clearly. There's an existing septic system on the property, and it's on the as close as it could be to the road. It's set back from all the wetland resources, and it has the capacity to accommodate the new house. There's 5 bedrooms in the existing house. There'll be 5 in the new house. The existing house also has a detached garage that is between the house and the road, and it's very close to the road, doesn't meet zoning setbacks. So the plan is to keep the septic system, but shift the tank slightly because it would be in conflict with the house, because it wouldn't meet the 10-foot setback to the house, which is a Title V requirement. We also submitted impervious surface analysis sketches, and the notes for the impervious calculations are on those plans. And we're providing the required mitigation planting for an increase in impervious surfaces. If you look at the plan, ironically, there's a reduction in the impervious surfaces in the Zone A. It goes from 817 square feet to 603 square feet. But there's an increase in the impervious surfaces in B. So when you do the math, there's still a requirement for mitigation, but there is a reduction in the A zone, which I think is better. So I think that's an improvement over current conditions. So we submitted our application, and then we did a follow-up meeting with Jen to go over things, and Jen had some suggestions. We talked about I added some notes to the plan. At first, I thought that I could utilize our plan to restore the coastal dune as the mitigation planting for the increased impervious surfaces. But Jen quickly discouraged me from that, and
Such a nice way to put it.
we revised the plan and proposed the mitigation planting which is in this green color.
Thank you, Mike.
Here. We're still doing the dune restoration because it needs to be done. So the dune restoration is proposed here. You may remember, or some of you may have been on the board, I don't know how long ago it was, but all of these properties, not all, but some of these properties, the adjacent ones and this one, had come to get a permit to restore the dune some time ago. And for whatever reason, Mother Nature decided that this property had to take the brunt of the storms and needed to have it done again. The other properties look like they didn't have any damage at all. When you go out there, it's kind of amazing. Maybe it has something to do with these. I don't really know, but it's clear that this area needs some help. So we're proposing to do that as well. And there's a cross-section on the plan and some notes. I described the American beach grass, sloping it at 3:1. And the estimated volume of material is 50 cubic yards. So the way that we were proposing to do the construction sequencing, and it's outlined in the project narrative, I tried to make sure it was very clear, is that the existing house would be demolished, and then before the new house is constructed, the work on the beach would be done while the lot's open. We're showing an 8-foot wide construction access, basically centered on an existing 3 to 4 foot wide footpath that goes to the beach now. That's wide enough to have a mini excavator and/or a Bobcat size machine make access to the beach. We're actually doing one other thing, which we need to gain access to the beach. You've seen these along the waterfront. Scattered on these properties is ancient pilings that were probably some sort of shorefront protection back in the day, and the remnants of those are still scattered along a lot of these properties. The pilings are sort of, they're all, degraded and starting to, rot, and they're really not serving any purpose. In fact, they're pretty much a hazard. If, in fact, in this case, my client thinks they're a hazard. So we're asking permission to remove these, as well as this sort of crib of, timber crib of some stones that's, again, serving no purpose, to get that stuff off the beach. That would be done by the mini excavator and the same construction access. So the plan is to go on the beach, do that activity, do the restoration of the dune, sort of paint your way out of the room, and then restore the footpath back to a 4-foot footpath by planting beach grass on the edges. We were also asking permission to allow us to lay I'm going to call it a boardwalk on the path. It would be like planking that would be connected with like rope that could be rolled up in a couple of sections. So in the off-season, they would roll it up and just store it in the house, but it would allow for easier foot traffic over the sand. And then, so that takes care of like the area beach activities. Now the house construction itself is, the plans show the construction. Now it's in a velocity zone, so the house must be elevated to a height that provides 2 foot higher elevation than the predicted wave height to the bottom of the structural members, which is the beam. So that means the wave height's 14, the bottom of the structural members must be 16. Since it's the bottom of the structural member and there's framing above that to the first floor is proposed as 17.6. So yes, it's elevated, but the existing house isn't elevated. Existing house doesn't have any breakaway panels, and it's very susceptible to wave action. If you look at the elevations that I provided and focus on the lower level, the area where the waves would make impact, the applicant has chosen to, instead of have breakaway panels on the house, have the pilings and then infill in between with lattice work. So they're not true breakaway panels per se. They may be damaged in a significant storm event, and they certainly would break away, but on more often than not, the storm waves that may happen in a storm would flow through the lattice work, and there'd be no forces against it like you might have against a solid wall like the existing house, or even a breakaway panel. There's a connection to an attached garage instead of a detached garage, and if you look, it's in effect a second story connection like a bridge to gain access to the second story of the area above the garage. So the area under that connection is open. We are asking permission to allow us to have breakaway panels on the garage structure itself. That's the only part of the project that would have breakaway panels, and we think it's appropriate in this case because this new structure, while elevated and on pilings, is far less susceptible to damage from storm events than the existing structure. So the potential for the existing structure to be destroyed in effect by a 100-year storm and then become debris goes away because this structure would be FEMA compliant. The breakaway panels on the garage are proposed to be that hinge type. So any potential for, debris to be scattered through a storm event has been dramatically reduced with the new house versus the existing house. I've tried very hard to get you details of the breakaway panels. The structural engineer, Barnum Philbrook in this case, is extremely busy. He didn't give us the details yet. So I'm trying to describe them to you. I mean, if you want the details, I'm certainly willing to provide them. I just can't physically get him to get them to me. So I apologize for that. I certainly anticipated you asked for them, but I just simply can't get them from him yet because of his workload or whatever. So I apologize for that. We're proposing dry wells for roof runoff. There's no dry wells now. And the proposed mitigation is that darker green, well, this green, not that green, here, and it's the required amount. It's 300 square feet. And none of it is within 10 feet of any part of the new building. The rest of the property is going to remain basically the same. There might be some landscaping that around the, the foundation or along the edges of the building that I have no details on at this point. The rest of it would remain as lawn, Falmouth friendly lawn. I think that's pretty much it. Happy to answer questions.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mike, you said a mini excavator to get those pilings out, not a bobcat, correct?
Yeah, I think it's going to
I don't
be,
think a bobcat's gonna work. I've seen this thing get pulled out. They're big.
yeah, so it's going to be one that has like a claw on it,
Yeah, they're
and
gonna have to.
sometimes they have to dig a little bit around the edges and wiggle them and then pull them out.
Just, I hope, do you have any sense of how deep those go in that area?
No idea.
I just know the ones that came out, down near Minot they were in deep. So just who's ever doing that work, they should anticipate that.
It may be if they can't pull them
The
out.
big machine the town was using was tipping, so.
If they don't pull out, they may end up just breaking off
Flush cut
below
or
the sand
something,
layer.
yeah.
They're going to try to pull them out.
Yeah,
We
I'm
don't.
just letting you know that
Yep.
it wasn't easy.
Mhm.
There's a couple of guys in the water, the chains kind of, it was a production.
Hmm.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you for making the changes on the plan that I wanted to see, and just, the board's aware of the staff's view on breakaway fence.
I also wanted to let you know, I don't think we have a DEP file number yet. As of 5 o'clock, I didn't have one, unless it came in very late.
Come in, so we'll have to continue it.
And I might have the breakaway panels by then.
And I think that would be to your benefit. To be
I
totally
know
honest with you.
Tom's gonna want to see them.
Mike?
While we're doing the piles, there's piles along the west jetty, or whatever that is, that are being shown to be left in place.
Are you referring to these?
Yeah.
That's off his lot.
Neil's the project manager on this. I don't believe we proposed to do that because it's not on our property.
Yeah, that's off his property.
It's just, first, humans are a species, and those piles are, I think, are a danger to humans. So getting those out of there feels like the right thing to do, and while you get
Right.
the equipment on the beach and you're trying to do it, it makes sense to get those out at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You won't feel good no matter who they are. That walkway down the dune. You show the boardwalk coming across, that's actually must have steps. That's about a 5-7 foot drop.
It's gonna be, it's actually gonna slope off when we regrade this to 3-to-1. 3 horizontal to 1 vertical.
Oh, you say you're gonna have a ramp.
Yeah, and
It'll go
you
across
can
the
walk,
main
you
canal.
can walk on that. The boardwalk would make it easier to walk up and down that, you know, trudging up and down that sand.
It is, well, it is a velocity zone, but the most likely target is their own house. Getting those things out of there before the storm comes in makes, not only to the resources, but to the individuals who own that house. So, I mean, I don't know how, making sure that they are pretty easy to remove,
Well, yeah, they were gonna be,
and where you put them.
they were gonna be in sections, and they're gonna be connected like with, like rope, like you might have for tying a boat up, you know, like nautical
Yeah.
theme rope, and then maybe in 3 sections that you can roll up, and then 2 men can carry the sections and store them out of the waves energy.
Okay, I mean, it's a,
I can't, you know,
yeah.
will it happen? I can't say that it'll happen, but that's the plan. That's why we tried to make them, you know, easy to remove. There's no like posts or anything, and there's no structure fastening it to the ground.
Okay. Moving to the east, on the, I guess it's the east side, moving to the north, east side of the trees, there's a couple good-sized trees that are now to the east of that existing garage. I think they gotta go.
Up here?
No, further,
Oh, right here.
yeah.
Yep. There's a 14-inch oak here that's in direct conflict.
With, yeah.
Yeah, it's,
So are we talking about planning something to replace it?
well, I failed to mention that we're proposing a 6-inch cedar tree here,
Okay.
but it's really not to offset for cutting that tree. It's at the request of Jen, because you're required to plant 1 tree,
For every 1,000 square feet of plantings.
and we agreed to disagree as to whether or not we needed that tree, because we're only doing 300, but
Well,
In
no,
a-
we
in
got a
an
tree
effort
that's
not to
going
dis-
away. I see the wisdom in the additional tree.
But I also wanted to point out, and this is not in any way disrespectful, that tree that is in the garage is more than 100 feet from any of the wetland resources. So technically, I don't believe we have to mitigate for it.
You don't have any DEP found yet?
Where am I missing?
There's the 50-foot outer buffer zone
Okay. All right.
is here, and it's just outside.
I'm done.
Thank you.
No more questions.
Russ?
The plans for the breakaway panels, yes, that's a must for me too. I'm assuming that latticework is gonna be like a plastic type
Yes.
and clipped, bolted, or you frame it and snap it in, or?
Hinge, actually.
Oh, they will be hinged, so
Oh,
they'll
I
be
didn't-
attached.
Sorry about that. Yep.
Under the bottom, hinge.
Okay,
Why don't you
could
come
we
up?
have your name, yeah, why don't, please
Sorry about
come
that,
up,
man.
just for the record, just so we have that. Thank you.
I'm Neil Curran, representing Central Construction, the general contractor.
Thank you.
The panels, the lattice panels would be framed in PVC, and they would be hinged at the top, pinned at the bottom to break away between 10 and 20 PSI, in line with the FEMA specifications. I want to use a stone pier design. That's what's in now for engineering design at the moment. We'd like to veneer those with thin granite, and the architect would like to have seen stone all around. But there's a question, if we use a grade beam, it'll probably be below any potential scour to secure, to lock in the concrete piles. So I think what we're gonna wind up with is just lattice, stone on the side and lattice to the top and the bottom, separate and able to swing or break away within the FEMA requirements.
You say think, Camille, you're not completely sure that you're gonna be using lattice.
Yes, oh yeah, no, yeah.
Okay.
That design is for sure. It's a picture frame of PVC in white with a white lattice panel inside.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, I'm all set.
Mary?
My only question has to do with the bedrooms. The narrative says it's 5 now, it's going to be 5 in the new house. And I'm wondering, first of all, the use of the second floor of the garage, and with this room on the first floor called the bunk room playroom, which is depicted with 4 beds in it, you've already got 6, irrespective of the garage.
Yeah, I should explain that. It's a 5-bedroom capacity system. There's 5 bedrooms in the existing house. The new house, when you design a septic system's capacity under Title V, there's a formula that recognizes on these houses that have more than typical numbers of rooms that are seasonal houses. There's a formula that says if you have more than 8 rooms, not bedroom, 8 rooms, you add up the number of rooms, divide by 2, and round down. So that means if you had 11 rooms divided by 2 is 5.5, rounded down, you have to design for 5. That's what I meant. And it's a recognition of many of the rooms are not fully occupied, they're seasonal, and there's averages through the year. They're guest rooms. They're not like fully occupied with a family with full occupancy in all bedrooms.
Okay.
That's a Title V.
Yeah, I had forgotten the formula. It's been a long time.
July 4th.
But anyway, so there are 11 rooms, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we counted the rooms, yeah.
And what is the intended use of the second floor of the garage?
What's the intended use of the second floor of the garage?
It's actually the first floor.
If you have to come up,
You
please.
gotta come up.
And that's
Thank you.
I'm still Neil. The room over the garage is actually at the first level of the house. There is no second level to the garage, only a first floor above the flood level.
So you get a second floor here. This is all one level here like this, like that?
Yes,
And
that's
This
exactly.
is the second floor level here.
Yes. Close, there you go.
That's all.
Okay. Mike, when we started this, I'm going to mirror others on the board. We need to know what the breakaways are and where they're going to be located
Yep, I
and
understand.
such.
Yep.
I appreciate the architecturals. That's a nice thing to help explain things. When you started, you made your presentation, you were talking about tearing the house down and then doing all the work on the dune. That's not how it's described in your methodology, okay? I think we can clear that up pretty easily. You know,
Okay,
it
help me
says,
out. I thought, that was my intention, maybe I,
well, the construction sequence will begin with the demolition of the existing house, ... Excavation then commence for concrete footings, propose the house, breakaway panels utilized, framing and other construction activities will follow. It's on the next page that after there's an existing Title V system, ...
yep.
The activities proposed on the beach and described above will require the use of a mini ...
Yep.
So
Yeah, I understand.
we just gotta make sure that it's clear in the order of conditions, so some knucklehead like me goes there and sees them framing and they still got the Bobcat on the
Yeah.
beach. That's not gonna be acceptable.
Yeah, I understand.
Right.
It's not clear, yeah. I mean, I was talking about the house construction. I could have been clearer, yep.
Okay.
If you want me to clarify,
revise the methodology when you submit the,
I can do that.
Yeah,
I'll
that's just,
submit a letter clarifying it.
Yeah, just so that so when the order comes out, everything's all real crystal clear for people to do. The machine that you're gonna use, the mini that'll fit down that path, you're not gonna get like a 307 down there, that's gonna be wide.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I made it 8 foot wide after having some conversations with contractors that have a 307. It's a rubber track 307, and it's not 8 feet wide, it's about 6 feet wide, I believe, from track to track. So we were thinking in terms of the 307, yes.
How did peculiar how things like that happen.
Yeah, and
In that, if you needed to use construction mats, just something, just to keep that for multiple trips, just some site management on that. That 307, I believe, what I don't want to see have happen is, if you gotta cut these things, once you raise it up, just, yeah, I know all the activities during low tide and all that type of thing. I just, don't want a whole lot of cutting down in there, because they could be creosoted, that type of thing.
They're big,
Yeah,
they're big.
you know, good luck pulling them. I truly hope that, I hope that they,
wiggle free.
yeah, either break down low or pull right out. It has to be a bio-friendly oil in that. No, you know, the timing of, all the typical things, and it'll be addressed in the order as well. That, you know, at night, no parking on the beach, all that kind of happy crap.
Yep.
You know, and everything's off the beach. Just responsible site management type of things. I know that we need to have a continuance because of the DEP number and some of the, I see you writing, and you got your marching orders to
I
fill
think
in.
I have two
on that.
things. Make sure I get you the breakaway panel details, and give you like a revised construction sequence.
Okay, is there,
Could you just add what Neil gave us on the lattice work of the hinged, you know, and that way it's in there also.
Describe the lattice work hinge on
Yeah.
it.
is there anything else that we need to have him put down on a revised plan before?
Mike, do you think you can get that, information by next Wednesday?
No.
Then you're looking at the 20th.
Actually, you know what? I can get you, I can't tell you about the breakaway panel details. I can't commit to when I can get them to you.
Then I would go with the 20th.
What I'd like to do, can we request the 13th? I can get you my revised.
You know what? No,
You-
you
You want a
can't.
quorum? I won't be here.
You're not gonna have a quorum.
Oh,
So you're looking at the 20th.
the 20th of May, that's the next week.
Next week's the 29th, but I'm gonna need that information in at least Monday or Tuesday so these guys can review it. And that's asking a lot of these guys, so. It's up to them.
If we can get that information by, I'm gonna just put it out there, if we get that information on Tuesday, we know what we want to see. So if we continued it to next week, that would give us the opportunity to review that at the hearing, knowing that they have their marching orders, they're very specific on what we requested. If they're not able to do that, then it would be a request for a continuance again, because their engineer wasn't able to give them
And
their,
Tuesday, not Wednesday morning. I need it by Tuesday.
yeah.
Well, I can get you my revised plans and things that I'm responsible for by close of business Friday this week.
Okay.
I can't commit to,
And that's understood.
That's
So I'm-
we understand that, Mike.
And
We're just
I want you to understand
trying
where
to
we
help
are
you
as
out.
well, so that if we don't get that by
sure.
Tuesday,
We're
it's
gonna
not
keep it
Wednesday.
20th.
Yes, I'm not, so that, I understand what you're saying, we'll do our best to do that. We understand if we don't get it, we have to ask them another continuance. I will not be presenting my revised plan on Wednesday, because I'm not here next Wednesday, but Neil will represent the client.
That's fine.
That's fine.
We
That's
have,
fine.
that's perfectly fine. So with all that's been said, I would entertain a motion.
The request of the applicant, I move that we continue the hearing until April 29th.
Second?
Okay, is there any further discussion on the board? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to discuss this project? Yes, you do.
Sam Patterson, Grassmere Drive. I was curious to know whether there's a strategy for doing dune restoration for a future storm when the access might not be available. Has the applicant thought about that? Would they be limited to doing the work strictly from barges off of the sound?
Mr. Chairman, the last time, Sam, that these 5 properties, there were 5 properties that did it kind of simultaneously, construction access came through and went over the 4 adjacent properties over the beach area. So that's how they did it the last time when the existing houses were there. Whether or not that access would be available in the future would depend on the abutting property owners.
And I can add to that. On this side, the west side, the closest point of the structures, there's more than 11 feet of clearance along this side. So we could, it's easier with the house gone, obviously, but in the event that we did have to get around the house, we still can. That'd be just lawn. So there's still access around.
Okay.
It's not as easy, but it's still, you'd have to go slower, it'd be more time-consuming to do what you have to do, but it would be limited to patching up, hopefully, any, damage to the beach grass, and it might only be handwork. But if it's a big storm and it gets blown out again, you could still get there without having to go down the beach.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Does that help, Sam? Okay. All right. Any other discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous. So
Thank you.
moved.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Okay, so that's, okay. Next is voting of some orders. I believe. First on that would be lot 159, 160 Sea Pit Road.
That's the wall, Mr. Chairman. So, they did submit a construction methodology. Will there be construction wall behind the existing wall? Remember we asked them
Yep.
to look at doing
Yep.
that? And they came back and said that it was feasible
Yes.
to be able to do that. So all the work will be done. They're gonna come in by barge.
This was the one that we had concerns because of debris, and then they sent a letter. There was another letter that we received from the new homeowners.
Yep,
Yeah.
so we'll have
Okay,
to
now I know
clear
where
the
I'm-
They're gonna
debris.
All right.
take care of
All
this.
right, all right.
That pile of poop.
Yeah, clear the debris, wall behind existing wall.
Are there any other concerns on the board? Or any other special conditions we'd like to discuss?
Replant whatever they,
Yes. The,
Sincere letter they sent.
the section,
disturbed areas.
I don't recall seeing.
There was quotes they had hooked up to they redact the whole, piles of, what was that quote?
Oh, no. I don't recall seeing.
so, we have a,
I'll make a motion to approve as discussed.
Second.
that'd be Russell's motion, Mary's second. Any further discussion? Any discussion from the audience? Well, gee, actually, you can't. That's something, that's just us. So, any, I'm gonna call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Sometimes. Next is 365 Shorewood Drive. have that one in front of me.
I-
I don't know why.
That was the deck
The plan.
expansion, request to amend,
That's right.
365,
That's right.
just a small deck expansion.
Yeah, with the big
Straighten off
filled in.
that one. This is
That's
jagged,
right.
Oh,
you know,
yes.
stepped thing.
Yep.
Basically, the regs changed, the FEMA regs changed,
Yep.
kind of shifted that velocity zone more seaward. They were able to expand the deck where before they had to keep it under a certain square footage. The problem was the out-haul wasn't there.
That's right, the late night all.
There it was.
Hooray.
There we
Back to
go.
you.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was good. I was out there bright and early at 8:15, looking for the out-haul. So, it was good.
Okay.
So staff has no concerns with the basic stand and special conditions.
Seeing as how I do recall that wonderful moment.
And yes,
so-
and the vegetation is not being cut either along that buffer, which we also asked them to do, so. It's good.
So it's a win-win on our side. I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve as requested, as discussed.
Second.
That'd be Russell's motion, Mary's second. Any further discussion on the board? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
That'd be Russell's motion, Mary's second. And I would like to, again, to thank Michael for putting that together for us to have this evening. That's nice recognition.
Very nice.
Thank you.
That was very nice.
Yeah, it's kind of a look back to yesteryear and how we got here.
It's very good. I was thinking of making a mention, but yours was really superior. It's great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Unanimous, so moved. Good night.